Here we go. Another episode of Always Another Game. My dad is going to be absolutely buzzing with this episode because he is a huge baseball fan. Not only is he a huge baseball fan, he is a huge Blue Jays fan. We have visited a couple of times to watch them play.
Awesome.
On today's episode, I have MLB pitcher, current Minnesota Twins pitcher, Jay Jackson. Jay, how's it going?
Good. How are you, Shaun? It's a pleasure to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. I've had a few guests from across the pond, and the one thing that always gets stuck on is the time zones.
Yeah, we've had a couple issues with that, but I'm glad we finally got to sit down and get a chat in. I'm excited about it and looking forward to it, man, for sure.
Yeah, and I learned something new that there's 2 time zones in Kentucky, which is absolutely baffling me that you can walk a couple of steps and you can be in a different time zone. It's absolutely mad.
It's completely difficult, right? Like we have so many in the States. It's absolutely bonkers how many we have completely. Like I think we have 4 or 5. So it's unreal how you have to keep track of them and how we just travel through them too. So it's just difficult.
Yeah, because you have to do that quite a lot with what you do. So I guess you kind of, even though you haven't left the country, you're in a different time zone. Like it's mad, absolutely mad. But before I dig into it, I asked you before I came on, what can I call you? We got Jay, your Instagram handle, we got Jax, but there's one that kept popping up with Smiley J.
Yeah.
What is Smiley J?
Smiley J is me. It's the character logo, I guess, persona of myself that kind of evolved through the couple years. It started in Japan, my first year there, and I just started smiling once I got done pitching, and then it evolved into a logo, which then evolved into the brand, and I just kind of kept with it because, smiling kind of makes everything better. So it kind of worked. Like the little logo became Smiley J, and then it just kind of just represented who I am completely, and that's where we're at. It's going to be everywhere. Hopefully it stays everywhere for a long time. And now that I have my son, his name is Jay, and he's technically Smiley J too, so he can hopefully keep it going.
Yeah, I love how we talk about this a lot on the podcast, like accidental intent. Things happen for a reason, 100%. Even if you don't mean for them to happen. So I love that that's kind of added to our little theme here. But so obviously you're a pitcher. Now, I don't think anybody potentially knows this part about me because I never talk about it, but I played baseball when I was younger. I played for the Windsor Bears over here. And one day I said to the coach I wanted to pitch. And he let me do it. And I was terrible. And he didn't pull me out, and he put me back in again, and I was terrible, and he kept putting me back in, and I could feel myself just getting eaten up inside because I just couldn't do it. I could throw the ball far, but I just couldn't pitch. How do you deal with that every night? Like all eyes are on you every night when you're pitching. I know how that felt in that one moment, but you have to do it consistently.
You just kind of get used to it. It's a dream, you've worked so hard to get there that once you're out there, it's just repetition. Then you try to block everything else out and just focus on what you have to do and just go back to just loving the game that you have in front of you and just know that you've done it 1,000 times, probably 1,000,000 times by this point, but you've done it so many times that it doesn't change because of the surroundings. It doesn't change because of who's in the box. You just have to trust that you're enjoying what you're doing and that you've worked so hard to be there that it's going to work regardless of what happens.
Yeah, it's those reps, isn't it?
Yeah.
100%. So, because obviously you get a lot of celebrities and stuff standing at the mound throwing. Am I right in saying some of them do actually get coaching before they go out?
No, they do for sure. Like they ask us for tips here and there. They ask us for what we do and how we go about it and things like that. And if we have any pointers type things before they go out there and help. But ultimately everybody's got their own way of doing it. And they a lot of people get nervous when they go out there and throw the first pitch, but there's been a lot of people do really well. So, I'm excited that they keep doing it and the celebrities keep doing it. And you have all the memes of the bad ones, but you have all the ones that when people do really well too, they're like, oh, they should play baseball. It's that's stretching it a little bit.
Yeah, because you're going viral if you get that wrong.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so what I love everybody to know, just so they get to know the guests a little bit more, is who is Jay Jackson?
In a nutshell, just a simple person that loves baseball and loves life. Just trying to impact everybody in the world in a positive way to help as much as I can. That's who I think I try to be. I just try to be as upbeat and positive as I can as I've grown through life because I see how much negativity is there. So me, I'm Smiley J at the essence of it. The simplistic part of it is I'm Smiley J. I like to smile, have fun, enjoy life because I feel like we weren't meant to be in this life to not enjoy it. So that's like who I am. I try my values in life go God, family, baseball. Some people don't have it that way, but for me, that's kind of how I've gone about my life, and that's just me in a nutshell.
Yeah, there's a psychology to smiling, right? Even when you say Smiley
Hmm.
J, like you smile, then I smile. Anybody that's listening, we're all smiling here because there's such a psychology to smiling and body language, just head up, shoulders back. It completely shifts your mood straight away. Where did the positivity start then for you? Because we don't just kind of automatically just smile all the time in a way. Where did that all start?
Um, I guess it just kind of evolved. It started probably. Ooh, I was going through a bad stretch. I think it was like maybe 2012, 2011, 2012, around then. And I was just in bed one day and I was just like, yo, if this is what I'm supposed to do, play baseball and provide for my family in this way, then, things will happen the way they're supposed to. And I'll get an offer for a job in the next couple of days because I was trying to go play winter ball, which is an off-season league to make more money because we weren't getting paid a lot in the minor leagues at the time. So I was like, I'll get a job and everything will be okay. And this will be my career and I can keep. And I was like, if this happens and I get this job, or if I get a winter ball job, then I'll never take these days for granted again. I will enjoy this sport forever and ever. And literally, like the next day, got a call. And so from then, I just started enjoying it. And then as I've gotten older, I feel like every team I've gone to, it kind of re energizes me being around younger guys and other talent and still being able to go outside and play the game and be able to just be out in the sun every day. That's kind of helped me just be positive about it because I mean, a lot of people don't get to play the sport in the first place, but to be able to play a sport where you get to be outside in beautiful weather 90% of the time is just an unbelievable gift. So I just try to, it's just evolved as I've gotten older to just enjoy every moment of the game, but then enjoy every moment of life as well. And so it's that way. And then, like you said, it's a psychology to smiling, but not only smiling, but just positive thinking in general, because it's a snowball effect. Like I said, once I started enjoying baseball, then I started being able to enjoy life more. And so then after that, I feel like that snowball helps expound and, hopefully other people around me catch on and latch on and feel that energy too. And then, we have more people doing the same thing, which is awesome.
Yeah. So this bad stretch that you spoke about, was that related to kind of finding a team at the time and having that purpose? Was that what it was related to?
Yeah, it was just like, is baseball what I was meant to do? You try to figure out because you've done it for so long at that point to a certain degree. Like, I think I was maybe 24, 25, 26. So I've been playing baseball for most of my life at that point. So you figure, okay, is this what I'm supposed to do? Is there something else I'm supposed to do? I need to make more money because this is definitely a grind at the time. So you try to figure it out and you get through it and it worked out like that. Yeah, it just worked out. You find your purpose and you just try to keep going for your goals and ultimately they work out when you don't give up on them.
Mm. You can see early on, like with my clients, I talk about finding your PP, your purpose and your passion for doing it. So you've already mentioned kind of like you felt you had a purpose to play. And then obviously with the kind of the positivity side, the smiley side, there was that kind of passion element. So you can already see early on why you are where you are. But why baseball? What was it about baseball that was so different? Did you try any other sports when you were younger?
I played all of them, really. I played a bunch of sports when I was younger. I played baseball, basketball, football. I still golf a little bit now when I have free time. I golfed a little bit when I was younger. I tried tennis. Um, I did pretty much everything. I ran around the soccer field a bit, but when I got to high school, my dad told me to pick between all the sports to pick two to focus on because I need to make sure I got my schoolwork done too. And he didn't want to have me overloaded, so he wanted to make sure I had a good balance. So he's like, hey, you can pick basketball and baseball, you can pick baseball and football, you can put baseball and tennis or whatever else. You can put basketball and football, basketball and baseball. And so I ended up just choosing basketball and baseball when I went to high school and focused on those. And I had scholarships to go to both. And I ended up going to college and university for baseball. And that's just kind of the reason I went to the university is because my coach there told me I could play basketball as well. So I didn't meaningfully like make the ultimate like choice with baseball, but it kind of chose itself for me. So again, it's just the purpose I had, I guess, and the stars
Yeah.
aligned in the right way.
Yeah, they're so relatable because I remember my parents saying the exact same thing with regards to baseball with us. It was kind of like, look, you've got to now, you're at a point where you're good at ice hockey. Are you going to carry on the baseball? Are you going to focus on the ice hockey? So it's funny how the parents do have that influence and like, okay, now it's time to focus or niche down. And then,
100%.
like you said, how the stars align, because obviously maybe they see something in you that you don't see.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, maybe they did. Like, I thought I was a better basketball player for sure coming out of high school, but it all worked out. You know, my baseball coach in the university was an amazing guy. He actually played both basketball and baseball at the same university that I went to. So that's why I went there, because I was like, well, if you can do it, then I should be able to try to do it as well. And then I had a pretty good freshman year of baseball, and he didn't let me try out for the basketball team after that. So that's kind of how that works.
I'm sensing a little bit of Michael Jordan here with his basketball and baseball. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I tried. Like, I loved it. I mean, I just loved both of them. I was pretty well rounded in basketball, but like baseball, just like I said, it was there, and it was definitely a love of a game for both of them. But the more I've grown up and played baseball and learned the more nuances of it, um, I've literally loved it more and grown to love it more. So again, it all worked out the way it was supposed to.
Yeah. Where did the MLB dream start to feel like a reality? I guess as a kid, we all play sport and we all dream of the highest heights, but obviously you've done it. Can you remember that point where you're like, okay, this is possible. There's a good chance this is going to happen.
I think it was always possible because I mean, I in little league and stuff, I was always one of the better players in little league. I was always on the all-star teams for the most part. And then going to high school, I was still one of the better players. But I think when I went to Little League and we won the state championship and went to the Little League like regionals for like the Little League World Series and stuff, and we participated and we played very well. And then I went to like summer travel ball, and I was playing summer travel ball while playing summer basketball, and I was competing against everybody from all over the place, but doing pretty well and getting interest. I think it was like probably like 13, 14 years old. So it was then, but then, you have to put the extra work in, the dedication, the time and effort to get to those levels, to make sure that you're still getting noticed and to stay at those levels where, people are still noticing you even from 13 to 15 to 17 to 19, there's always so many different guys that if you don't stay on those trajectories, you can get weeded out pretty quick. So I think it started at 13, but I've loved it and just kept working at it. And you just try to reach your dreams, and you just let everything else fall where they may. I'd say
Mm.
that.
Yeah, because it's been a tough journey for you from what I get. It hasn't been straightforward. Like you said, you weren't, you didn't kind of go little league superstar straight into the MLB. You've had a bit of traveling, a little bit of up and down. If you let everybody kind of know the path that you've taken a little bit to make it to the top level. So it hasn't been smooth sailing, has it?
No, no, not at all. I mean, it's just like life. I mean, life is not always smooth sailing. So, I mean, you kind of just ride the journey out. I mean, I got drafted. I spent 8 years in the minor leagues. 7 or 8 years in the minor leagues. Finally got an opportunity to get called up to the big leagues in 2015. Went up for a month. Then had the opportunity to go to Japan or stay over in America and stay in the big leagues. And I took the opportunity to go to Japan instead at that time. Went to Japan for a few years, came back and had to be in the minors again. And so grind back up to the big leagues again in 2019. Made it to the big leagues again in 2019. Then went back to Japan in 2020. Came back from Japan in 2020, the end of 2020, and was COVID year, so it was awkward and stuff. Everybody was scattered around, but played a little bit of baseball that year. And then in 2021, made it back to went to another team, had surgery in earlier in the season, made it to the big leagues up and down that year as well. And then 2022, 2023, 2024, kind of same thing, just up and down the big leagues, just grinding it out for those couple of years. So it's been fun. It's been a journey, but it's been fun. You know, you chase the dream. And like I said, you enjoy your journey more than anything else. If you're not enjoying the journey, then it's not really something worth doing. And this is a dream I've had since I was a kid. And as long as I'm able to do it and I'm enjoying it and I'm having fun at it and I'm able to compete and I'm not a hindrance to the team, I'll keep trying to go out there and give my best and do it because I mean, I enjoy doing it. I mean, how many people get to say they can live this life and live this dream of playing baseball, but also fulfilling a lifelong a childhood dream as their career, you know? So you try to do it as long as you can.
Yeah, and for for anyone that's listening that maybe doesn't know baseball, baseball's huge in Japan.
Yeah.
How was that? How was that experience?
It was awesome. I loved it. Won a few games there. We had a great time. It was one of the best experiences I've had in my life. I wouldn't change it for the world. Met a lot of great people there. Still have some friends over there now, so it's awesome. Would change it. Glad to be back at home though, and playing over here and having the opportunity to be here. But I had a blast over there. I would tell people to go over there and experience playing over there, but go over there with the mindset to play good baseball and don't think that, that the baseball over there is bad because it's really good.
Yeah, I remember one guest we had on, and football player. She spoke about going for the experience to, to other countries to play, because a lot of people do get caught up. It's like, well, I'm either going to stay at home or I'm going to go to the big leagues. For ice hockey for us, it's like I'm going to go to Canada. Well, no, go to Finland, or go to Poland.
Yeah,
there's a lot of great places, and that's what I love to see is players taking that opportunity to go and experience other. I'm sure it was one heck of a league, and to live that life and to embrace that culture for a period of time. I think more people need to know that there are more opportunities than just home or big league and nothing else.
No, 100%. I mean, I've been all over. I've played in Japan. I've played in Mexico. I've played in Puerto Rico. I've played in Venezuela. Since I played with the Blue Jays, I've played in Canada. So I've played. It's fun. You get to experience different things. You get to see how people are. You get to interact with communities and be part of people's lives. And those things are fun because you get to see how other people live. So you don't just hone in on thinking that yours is the only way of life. You know what I mean? You don't get stuck in a bubble to a certain extent. So for me, it's been a blast.
Yeah. You've said throughout this podcast, there's been times where there wasn't the money and you were kind of like holding on for opportunities for, for the winter leagues, and you kind of bounced around. Was there any point that you thought, nah, this is not going to happen. I'm going to quit?
Oh, there's a bunch of times. I've just been lucky enough each time to have people behind me to tell me to keep going and support me, whether it be financially with my family early on or support me by telling me not to quit at certain times when I've been like, you know what, it's like, this is just stupid at this point in time. Like the way they're handling this isn't about baseball. It's about more than that. And having people behind me just be like, well, just focus on baseball, do what you can do and enjoy your life because this is your dream. Don't let other things interact with it. I've had those conversations with my friends and family, and thanks to them, I haven't quit. And there's been a handful of times for sure that I've wanted to and probably have honestly probably tried to.
What do you think the difference was? Because there will be people that felt exactly the same as you, that was told exactly the same as what you were told and still quit. What was it that kind of made you kind of listen and go, no, actually, yeah, you're right. I trust you and I'm going to keep going?
I think ultimately I had to trust myself. You have to take into the advice that they're telling you, but at the end of the day, you have to make that decision. And ultimately, I took their advice and I had to sit down with myself and ask myself the same questions that I was relaying to them and getting their feedback from. It's like, okay, like, is this what I want to do? Is there a better option? is something going to be as enjoyable as this if I leave doing this, regardless of what the outside circumstances are? If I control what I can control, is there going to be a better situation that's going to be more fun and more viable to like my life and my like being the best me ultimately? And every time it was no. And also I was like, I am living a dream of playing baseball. Like all I can do is do the best I can, and whatever anybody else wants to do, they're just gonna have to do. And I'll live
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah, yeah, I like how we kind of looked at the reframe of, okay, well, if I don't do this, what am I going to do? And is it going to be anywhere near as fun, enjoyable? And you've said all the reasons why you play. So, yeah, I think that's to catch that thought, that negative thought, and flip it into actually, well, is the grass greener? Um, I think that's kind of powerful for a lot of some people that might be struggling right now in sport or in pursuit of it, and to know that, well, actually, it might not be great, but actually it's probably greater than what you could be doing.
Yeah, I feel like you have to go through the storms a lot of times. It's not always going to be like sunny and everything's going to be fine. You're going to have to go through the storm sometimes to get to the other side to see what it is. Maybe the grass isn't greener on the other side, but at least you went through to go find out instead of not even seeing it all. Whereas, you know, you stay on the same side that you've been on the whole time, you know what that is, and you're going to be staying stuck there the whole time. Whereas if you go through a storm or go through another place and you see, then you can actually can compare and then you can figure it out. Whereas I knew a lot of times that like what's on the other side of not playing baseball is not going to be as fun as playing baseball. Like a lot of times
Yeah.
because that was my dream. There's a lot of guys that you can tell when they're playing the sport that they were doing it just because they were good. They didn't have as much
Hmm.
of that love in them. But
Yeah.
if you love it, I don't feel like you just are going to give up on yourself if you are chasing after your dream, because that's what you're meant
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah, I love that we've had, a high level professional athlete use that word of loving it, because again, it's a topic that we talk about a lot, that without the enjoyment element, if we're talking a professional or if we're talking a young kid starting out, you said you've got young kids as well. If they don't love it, there's a good chance they'll never make it anyway. And they've got to find
100%.
something that they're passionate about. And it's easy for a dad of a sport to go, yeah, they're going to play the sport that I played. Whereas actually, no, they don't like it at all. And they want to do something else. And that's a huge element to listen to them,
Exactly.
because without that love, at some point they won't do it or they'll resent it.
Exactly. That's the key thing. And if they resent it, even if they're good at it, they're not making the impact on necessarily not them, but on themselves, but not just themselves, but their team and their community as they should be, because they're not truly enjoying what they're doing. Like we have community events and stuff, guys go because they enjoy being around the team, which involves the community, which they want to be a part of. But if you resent it or you don't want to do something, then you're never going to be around. You're never going to help. And the whole point of us being in the positions that we are and having the platforms that we have is to make people better and show enjoyment and bring people together to make the world better, for me, honestly, and give people positive things to do during the day when, again, the world's filled with so much negativity already.
Mm. So with the position that you're in, you've experienced life on both sides. You've experienced, plenty of time in the minors and plenty of time in the pro leagues. What do you think physically and mentally is the biggest difference between the two types of athletes there?
I think it's it's so much harder to stay in the big leagues than it is to get there. I mean, you
Okay.
get there, but to stay there, it's the mentality of how much you have to work every day. The grind is so long in baseball compared to other seasons, and that's no disrespect to other seasons, but a lot of times, you get practices during the week, you get off days to recover during the week. Whereas baseball, you play 162 games where you get 1, 2 off days a month. So,
Wow.
you get tired of guys, your body's wearing down, and it's the routine, the dedication, the discipline to find what you need to do each and every day to be at your best. Whereas in the minors, some guys, you take days off. You might not go as hard a couple days here and there. And that's no fault of their own. They just are younger and they haven't been through yet and learned the process. But once they figure it out and understand how they want to work and how they should work to make themselves better, that's when, it shifts. But I mean, it's all about, again, you love it, having the opportunities, taking advantage of opportunities. There's also a little luck involved for sure, but you just there's not that much of a separation. honestly, like truly, like it's a mentality and the talent level's still all the same. I mean, I say you have guys a lot of times that come from, the lowest of the minor leagues and go straight to the big leagues sometimes and have success because the talent level's there. But it's just, again, the discipline, the dedication, the determination, the love, the effort of doing it and getting through it all the time. So it's not that much, but it's just enough to make it where it seems like it's leaps and bounds.
Do you feel like that's a learned skill? Do you feel like a talented player could learn that in the pro league, or do you think that's something that's got to be drilled in earlier in life?
No, you can learn it. It's something that's definitely learnable. If you have the skills to do it, then you can put the discipline and the determination with it as you get older or as you, because I mean, me now compared to the young Jay, I know there's things I would have told him to do and listen to myself to be better and probably had a, a longer career in the big leagues possibly, where I had to learn those things as I've gotten older. You can teach guys these things, you can tell them these things, but ultimately, like I said earlier, it's up to that individual to do it. Like if you're not enjoying it, then you're not going to do it. You're going to take time off. You're going to be like, oh well, I should go to the weight room at 7 o'clock this morning to go get this training in, but do I really love doing this enough to go do that? And if you can't answer that yes, then you're not going to go do it. So it's ultimately you can teach it, but each student's got to process it and actually use it.
I remember exactly where we were on as we call the motorway or the highway for you guys. I remember exactly where I was sitting, and I exactly remember what my parents said to me when they were calling me out for being out at the clubs drinking with my friends all the time. And I remember snapping back and saying, I'm training and all this stuff. And I can't remember which parent it was, but one of them kind of said, no, let him make his decision. And I do, I had a talent in ice hockey, and I trained hard, but I didn't know what it took. We didn't know over here. We had nobody telling us how to go to that elite level. And yeah, it's like you say, if there was stuff that you would say young Jay. So if we pretend right now that I am young Jay, what would you say to him? What would be different?
I would tell him to, again, like, don't fall into the trap of thinking that, you have to be what everybody wants you to be. Like, you have to listen to yourself, but also just change. I would have told myself to change some of my habits too. Same thing. I would go out when I became 21 and stuff. I would go drink, but also like I should have had a better routine. I would have told him to have a better routine on the days that he wasn't pitching. Um, because those routine days were like I should have been better. I could have been better. I should have been better. I don't know ultimately how much it would have changed because I feel like it would have changed enough that I probably would have had a little bit more time in the big leagues. But I think but who knows? I mean, I'm right where I should be now. But I feel like if I would have told him, I would have told him to, just change a couple of little habits here and there, put some more dedication into it, be a little bit more disciplined because there were some things I was probably late to that I shouldn't have been late to. Did I still get these things done? Yes. But should I have got them done in a better manner is what I would say, to the younger Jay, because the work ethic and habits were still there. I worked hard, like you said, and I loved it, but I probably could have done things a little bit better to get to where I really wanted to be as I see what I do now. But again, so it's life. It's a learning experience. This is what we're supposed to go through. And the reason I know these things now and I'm having the things that I'm having now is because I didn't give up then, even though, things got hard and I did stupid stuff. And there's times that like things didn't go the right way. I didn't give up. And now it's paid off that I didn't give up and I did still get the work in at the time before, you know what I mean? I still got the work in. At least I still got it in. That was the first step of anything is still getting it in, still doing it. Like I could have just been like partying and then like get to the field and be like, you know what, like I could lift today, but no, I'm not going to. And like that, I think would have took me out of the game a lot earlier. Whereas I still got the work done, so I prolonged my career. But did I get to the level early as fast as I should have? Probably not, because I probably missed out on probably those extra 30, 45 minutes of trying to get myself in the mind frame to do it instead of just doing it right when I should.
Isn't it funny though? Because it's hindsight, isn't it? Because as you said,
Yeah.
you kind of almost went into it there. It's almost like, yeah, and if I did, hey, it could have got worse. If I did do
Yeah.
it and pushed even harder, you may not be in the position you're in now. So it's kind of easier for us to reflect. But I look back at everything I've done in my career, and ice hockey wise, I might have some regrets, but overall, I don't have regrets because those ice hockey regrets have led me to what I'm doing now, and being able to have conversations like this. Because if I had made it in ice hockey, maybe I wouldn't be coaching, I wouldn't be doing podcasts, because I would still be just playing ice hockey and doing nothing else. So sometimes it is kind of it's nice to reflect and see, because obviously now being a parent like you are, I'm sure some of these skills are being passed over, or if not, they will be passed over. But yeah, it's just so interesting to see what how we think and what could have been if we'd done something different.
No, 100%. But like you said, it's easier for people to say, "Well, I can live with regrets," instead of just being like, you know what, like it's my life. Like it is what it is. Like I can learn from what I did before and keep moving forward, and instead of just being, "Oh, I should have done this differently," because there's nothing we can change about it now anyway. So instead of taking that thing as something that's negative, that's going to beat you down, and thinking that it could have been better or worse, you can just be like, okay, that was an experience I had. Take the positive out of it and keep it going. Learn from it and take the viable things out of it and just keep it moving. That's what we try to do. Like that's what I try to do. I try to tell my friends and family to do the same thing. Like, hey, like there's nothing we can do about it now. Like keep it moving.
Yeah, but that's what it is. It's live and learn, isn't it? And a
Exactly.
big thing that I truly believe in is that without mistakes, there is no success.
Exactly. That's 100%
Mistakes
true.
are crucial. We need them. They are important. The difference is whether we learn from it or not.
100%. 100%.
So obviously, with you are currently still playing. We've got, I
Yeah.
think now we're talking. We've got 10 minutes, and then you're off to a game, which is mad. Again, even more appreciation to you doing this, because I remember when I played, I sat on the sofa all day. Nobody spoke to me. I only got up to make food, and drink water. Like I had the worst game day routine in terms of like socializing or anything. But there's more. There's more to Jay. Jacksland, you spoke about it a little bit earlier about this logo. Tell us a little bit about more what you're doing outside of the game.
We have Team Jacqueline, which is like the clothing company that I started in Japan, then brought back over to America. Just something I did with my friends, just kind of as a creative outlook to just like get me just outside and support like a small business for myself. I'd rather go make my own stuff that I like to wear than go spend $500-600 on stuff, like for the most part, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it was something fun to do and my friends enjoyed it. And so we all like did something just to have as a fun thing to keep us all together and just be creative. And then it just turned into a whole brand. From there, we have under that we have like the Smiley J logo, which is me, which I actually have a Smiley J Foundation, which I do baseball camps during the season, during the All-Star break of the season. We have a baseball camp that I partner with the Boys and Girls Club to get kids to come in there for free, but also it's a camp that has a bunch of overnight campers that come to Furman, my old university, and spend 3-4 days with me learning baseball and having fun. So we do that, and most of the proceeds from that go to charitable organizations. So that's kind of something we do too during the season. And then I guess the last thing that's going on is I don't know, like we're going to keep playing. We're going to see how long we got in the tank, how much gas we have in here. So the baseball camps and Jackson being the brand. Actually, I just got sweaters for everybody from for our big league team, and so this was
Oh,
just sitting
nice.
around. So it's actually got the tag sitting here right now, so everybody you can kind of see the tag and the logo
Yeah,
and
sure.
everything.
Wait, yeah, if anyone's on the
Yeah,
video, yeah, that's
yeah,
sweet.
yeah. So
Yeah, that's amazing. But again,
teamjackson.com.
just
Yeah, it's fun.
just
It's just
something
so it's
again
something fun. Yeah,
that came out of Japan, something that just that you going over
yeah,
there, and this logo was created, and then these friends and this creative side. But what I love about that day is you don't often hear this side from from top level athletes, because a lot of top level athletes do a lot of charity work, but they don't show it off in a sense. That, you know, it's kind of not a bragging thing. It's something that they're you know, they're passionate about and they just want to do. And, you know, I love that you've kind of taken your passion and did you say your university it's held at? Is that what you said? Yeah.
So
You know, and it all kind of, all of those pieces come back, and it's kind of that, a lot of athletes talk about giving back to the sport that did so much for them. You know, I kind of, in a way, I wish you guys could shout about it more and not get people say, oh, you're showing off or all this stuff. I wish it could be shouted and celebrated more, because I think it's so important for you know, for kids to be playing sport.
No, 100%. It is. It's huge for kids to play sports. It's huge just to have everybody together, because I feel like sports is the one place where everybody comes together for a common goal. You don't look at anything like race, creed, color, or whatever for the most part. Once you leave the house and you go, it's kind of like sports and battles, you know, for a lot of people. Like, you go to war with your brothers in different aspects, and you don't worry about anything else because you're going towards a common goal. You're trying to win, and you're competitive, and you're family at that time. It doesn't matter where you're from, who you are. You're all just going to fight, and so that's the beauty part about it. So it's awesome.
And
But
sport is
yeah,
a
as far as
community as well.
yeah, well, I was gonna say, as far as charity though, like, a lot of guys love doing the charity. Like, I know a lot of guys for sure enjoy doing it. We all go out here. We probably all have our own foundations and organizations that we're specific to, but we don't like to talk about it because, like, we just like to support. Like, we support each other. We support our friends. We support our organizations, because we, at the end of the day, we're just normal people too. But we like to just help and impact. Well, most of us like to impact in ways that we can, and we don't want the recognition for it to a certain degree. We just want to impact and just live our lives.
Yeah. And you're planning on a little bit more impact, right? So I'm going to ask you, and I want you to share with everybody. I don't know if this is kind of like an exclusive or not, but what's next for Jay Jackson?
I know what you're referring to, and the impact is, I'm working on a book right now, and the book will be out around October or November. I'm planning on October. But it's a book to just help people reach their goals. It's a positivity book of just get you, you know, trying to get people to be their best and look inside and look for ways to be positive and help and focus on, you know, just being better. And not focus on negative things, because, like I said, people focus so much on negativity, but a lot of times people focus that negativity on themselves more than outward too, and that stops them from trying to be their best selves a lot of times. So just trying to find positivity and find positive things to do, and kind of tell my story about what kind of helped me be who I am, and the perseverance through it, and the mindset that I had going through it. Same thing that we talked about today. So the book will be out hopefully in November, October. I'm aiming for October, November at the latest, but hopefully October. And we're my first book. I'm looking
Yes,
forward to it.
it's mad. It's such a big thing, and the issue we have as humans is we are drilled in to be negative. It's a survival mechanism.
Yeah.
But we don't live in caves anymore. We're not threatened by wildlife like we used to. You know, we ultimately, for most of the days, we're relatively safe. And our mind is just still so far behind. It's still a mammal brain. So to be positive, to come away from negativity, it's a learned skill. And things like self-development books and positivity books like yours is kind of where it all started for me. And they make a massive difference if you believe in it, in personal development and stuff like that. It makes a huge difference because it changed my life. So I know your book for somebody will do exactly that.
That's all I'm trying to do. If it touches one person, that's all I can ask for. If it impacts one person, that's all I can ask for. Because same thing, I started reading self-help and positive thinking books like John Gordon, and then read The Alchemist so many times about life and like how to just go through it and things of that nature. Read books with Inky Johnson, E.T., different guys like that, and just realizing that, like, you know, I have an experience too, and just my thinking is kind of similar to theirs, but it's still different. And I want to give my perspective on it. And like I said, I want hopefully that I touch that one person that might need it too. Even if, like I said, it touches one person, that's all I can ask for. And that's all I want to do, just impact in whatever way I can and help and be, you know, is just the help to this world to just be better and just try for people to try to be the best versions of themselves. And I feel like if we're all positive, then it leads to less negativity, which leads to a lot more happiness and a lot more peace at the end of the day, right? So I feel like that's
Yeah.
the ultimate thing
Yeah.
is we're meant to live in happiness and peace, not all this craziness that we normally live in. So if one person can change it, then it turns into two. If that two turns into four, four turns into eight, we can keep multiplying it and we'll see what happens. Good energy
Yeah.
is always the best thing for me.
Yeah, it's the ripple effect. And the thing is even if there is a book similar to yours, somebody may relate to Jay Jackson. That's the
Yeah,
difference. And they may not relate to the other author. So even if it is similar, it's irrelevant. If you've got your community and the people that, that look up to you, they just need to hear your words. And like I say the exact same on the podcast, and it's a perfect place to finish because I say the same thing. All this episode needs to do today is help one person.
exactly.
Just inspire one person. That's all it needs. And then the ripple effect just takes over from there. Jay,
Yeah, for sure.
thank you so much for joining me today. I wish you all the best for your game later on. Who are you playing?
We have the Oakland A's today, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. It's going to be fun. It's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. It's just happy to be back up here and hopefully impacting this team and impacting this community as much as I can as well.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a Mariners fan, but that was purely Ken Griffey Jr. when I was playing, and I'm pretty sure he's still not playing now, but I still root for the Mariners. Don't ask. Other than Ken Griffey, there's no other reason.
Ken Griffey Jr. is one of my favorite players of all time. He's an amazing person. So trust me, I know. I would root for the Mariners. I was rooting for the Mariners too when Griffey was there. So you're not alone.
Yeah, good. We're on the same page. Thank you so much. Like I said, again, all the best for today and all the best with the book. I've got it down on here. I'm going to hold you accountable to your October date. And I'll make sure I grab a copy.
No, for sure. I appreciate you having me on here. We're already like 2 or 3 chapters deep into it. I've already edited a couple chapters and helped around. So we're on the way. It should be out hopefully sooner, but like I said, no later than November for sure. I appreciate the accountability though. Definitely going to need it.
Fingers crossed. Thank you very much. And as I love to remind everybody that joins in on the show that there is always another game. Take care, everyone. Have a good day.